In this video we're going to look at the work breakdown structure. Now you'll recall that this is the fourth and final part of the scope management process. So we define the requirements, we define the scope, develop the scope from that, and then we take that scope and we break it down. And the reason why we break it down is because it is a civil engineering project is just too big to manage by itself. We need to take it in little bite-sized portions, hence that little joke there. So to manage it, we break it down. So it's a logical breakdown. So you take, so here's the scope, the project in its whole, and we've sort of got, includes this little green thing, which let's say that's doing the foundations, let's say the brown represents building the building columns, the yellow might be the beams, the blue might be the roof, for example. So there it is in its entirety. And then we break it down. So now we break it down so we've got the foundations separate from the structure, separate from the foundations, and then we might break that one down into the columns and beams. Okay, so that's what it is. It's breaking it down. That's what decomposition is, taking that thing there and breaking it into these work packages. So the work packages is that one there. So the work packages are the lowest level of the work breakdown structure. They don't need to be on the same level. They're just sort of the end of the line, if you like. By doing that, you're increasing the accuracy of the cost, duration, and resource estimates. If you can look at this in a lot of detail, sort of estimate it, it's much easier to estimate how much that's going to cost than this whole thing. Do the same for this, do the same for this, do the same for that. When you add them all up together, you're going to have something that's much more accurate than if you just looked at it as a whole. Also, when you're doing the work, you can actually manage each work package. So instead of looking at the whole road and saying, well, how far complete are we? You say, okay, well, the curb and channel, that curb and channel work package is 50% complete. The subgrade work is maybe 25% complete. The foundation work is, is 75% complete. So you can look at each one of those work packages and very quickly determine where they're going, what sort of progress you got on it. And it also means that you can have clear responsibility assignments. So rather than having 6 foremen and saying, okay guys, go build the road, you say, okay Fred, you're responsible for building this curb and channel, here's your work package. Joe, you're responsible for building the subgrade, here's your work package. So it allows you to allocate responsibility and brief the right person on the project. So as I said, work packages are the lowest level, so you should be numbering it. So those are all work packages, not on the same level. Carried out by one team. The PM usually hands it over to a supervisor. So if you're talking about a construction project, you would sit down with the supervisor and say, okay, well, here's the curb and channel, here's the plans, here's the resources allocated to it, here's the duration, I want you to do it in whatever time it is. So you're defining all of that, and then you just let them go. You just let them do it. If you're talking about a design package, for example, you might say to the electrical engineer, here's the pump specs and that sort of business. Here's the budget, here's the time, I want the full switchboard design by such and such a time, and all that sort of business. So it happens, you use work packages in construction and in design. And you can split it into sections for a large work. So if you've got a 1.5 kilometre long road, you don't have to say 1.5 kilometres of curb and channel. You can say a curb and channel from chainage 0 to 500, curb and channel from chainage 500 to 1000, curb and channel from chainage 1000 to 1500. So you can split that deliverable, if you like, that component into sections if needs be. So there's no hard and fast way of doing this. It's really what works for you. So graphical work breakdown structure, just showing you what it is. So you've got new road, you split it, so that's the first level. You split it into carriageway and berm, which is the second level. You split the carriageway into curb and channel, road formation markings, and you split the berm into those. Now notice that the numbering on these things, it's really important that you do number them. There could be another section of the carriageway which has got curb and channel as well. but it's the unique number there. So 1, 1.1, if there was another one underneath this, it would be 1.1.1. If there was another one under this, it would be 1.2.1. So you can get the impression that the numbering can just be added to as required. Now this graphical work breakdown structure, I've included it here because it shows very clearly what happens, but it's not what we use in practice. What we use in practice is the outline work breakdown structure, where we take it down the page. So you can see that, you can see with the graphical work breakdown structure, we would have run out of page width pretty quick. But with this, we can just keep on adding stuff going down the page. And this is what Microsoft Project does. You can just keep on adding stuff. You can put extra things in there. You can add stuff to the bottom. So it makes it quite convenient to be able to do stuff. So the work breakdown structure, as I said, it's whatever works for you. You can structure it by components, which is what I showed you before. So the establishment, the carriageway, we split it up. So that's what we showed you with the graphical work breakdown structure. Or you could structure it by locations, split it into bits. I've talked about that before. Or phases of the project, or any combination of these that works for you. So the work breakdown structure, it's very flexible, but the idea of the whole thing is that at the end of the day you end up with all these work packages that are small, or relatively small, manageable work packages, if you like, that are easy to manage. And that's what the work breakdown structure is all about. It's one of the most important parts of project management.